we're back with two more filmmakers from the Independent Film Festival, James Huggins and Ryan Sadwick.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining me today. Now let's talk about your film, The Enchanted Adventures of Giblet. Tell us about that.
Well, it's about a bug catcher. His mission is to actually find a special creature to save his village from being taken over by this evil. When he gets that creature, there are things that will happen. I'm not going to tell.
Okay, yeah, we don't want to give all that away. Yeah. But I actually did watch the film. I didn't know I knew he was catching something. I didn't know he was catching bugs.
Yeah,
I knew
creatures.
Creatures. Okay, good. Now we're going to take a look at a clip from that film.
Okay. All right.
Now that was very interesting, and the question that I want to ask about right now is about the animation process. You guys are animators, obviously. Yeah. Tell me about that.
Well, it's a real involved process. It's just me and him doing all the animation. We basically we actually draw out a character first, and then we model it in the computer, kind of like you would sculpt out clay or something like that. It's all three-dimensional, and we basically give the character clothes, we give him expressions, we give him, it's a kind of like a puppet. You make a bunch of controls for him. You make controls so he can open his mouth, he can move his eyes, he can close them, he can cry, and all these different expressions so we can have him talk and stuff like that. And then once that's done, we place the character into an environment that has, it's actually all computer generated. It has wind, it has real physics, like when he jumps, the gravity pulls him down. And then on top of that, we have atmospherics like dust, the birds flying around, and the process it goes through is a rendering process. And basically, once we have all the animation, all the computers draw out everything, and that's how we get that crisp, colorful picture. And that process actually took the longest for us.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds very, very time-consuming.
Yeah, and it's just the two of us,
Yeah, trying to do it. So how much time did it take to actually draw it all out and get out everything like you wanted it?
To pretty much come out with a perfect concept, it took us probably about a year to a year and a half to actually, because Giblet's gone through about 5 different revisions to make him perfect.
Yeah,
like the character, At first we had him, kind of like a basic, kind of looked like plastic almost, and then he evolved from there. We gave him like fingers, and then from there we gave him eye color and stuff like that, and now we actually have a wardrobe of clothes, just like you would put on a jacket or something. He has his own jacket. He has armor, actually. He has, different clothes that we can actually put on him. So for different episodes that we're going to have with him, he's not going to be in the same thing all the time,
So this is actually just the beginning of what you're going to... Okay, so Giblet is an ongoing character that you guys will be using. Oh, wow. And so how did you come up with this idea for Giblet?
Well, we started it back in 2001. There was a Caribbean film festival that we were going to enter, but 9/11 happened, so they canceled it. We had all this content and stuff, so we just said, why scrap it? So we kept it all, and it's come up to this.
Okay, and Giblet was the brainchild of who? Where'd that name come from?
We just tossed around a couple names.
Because that's really cute. I like that. I really like that. The Enchanted. And will each piece be called The Enchanted Adventures of Giblet with different episodes around that?
Yeah, we're thinking about splitting it up into episodes, but each episode would go into the other one. So you kind of have to watch the first episode in order to get what the second episode is about and stuff like that. So it's going to be an ongoing thing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now, how did you guys get into film production?
Well, I started pretty much like I was 9 or 10. I've always wanted to work for Disney, and I said, why can't I do it myself? I have the talent, So I decided to, you know, take on something like that, and brought a friend along, you know.
Yeah.
You know. And what about you, Ryan?
I actually started, I think it was video games that got me in. I was always playing video games, and I wanted to make my own. And then before this project, we were actually going to decide to do something like that, but, you know, that's like a complex project, so we just decided to keep it simple. And I actually started off maybe in 8th grade. I was doing like short films and stuff like that, and then in 9th grade we had a TV production type of thing, and I was doing like the text animation and stuff. And then by high school I was using high-end software like they used to make the Matrix and stuff like that, Maya and 3D Studio Max, and I had an early start. And then when I went to college and they were using all these programs, I was basically like going around helping everybody else. Same thing with this guy.
Yeah, he pretty much got me on the bandwagon using Maya.
Yeah.
So did you all take classes for this, or did you kind of self-taught? How did that part work?
I pretty much learned some of the stuff from him, but then I went to the academy, the International Academy, and they taught me, you know, I need to know.
Yeah.
And what about you? Same thing?
I was self-taught, and then I went to the Academy of Design for Animation, and then we were using the same programs and stuff like that, so I really got into it, and just went from there.
Now, a few weeks ago, I interviewed a young filmmaker. He's 14, and you know, we talked about how he got into it. What would you say to young kids who are out, who may be watching? What would you say to them about getting into this type business?
Well, I would say if they have a passion for it, go for it. And I say, like, parents, if you see that in them, that you should, you know, support them
in every way possible. You know, just if they're interested in, you know, getting into like camera work or computer work, you know, I guess just do the research. There's a lot of it on the web. You know, how you can get started, what schools do what. You can even teach yourself
how to get it done.
Yeah.
It sounds like that's the way to go. It sounds like that's what you guys did. Well, we have to go. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for joining us, and be sure to take a look at the Independent Film Festival.